What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And welcome to a new week. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the total altcoin market cap. We'll take a look over there at the Bitcoin price chart. We'll look over there at the Ripple XRP price chart. But hey, we're starting the week off green. That's always a positive sign. We've been taking a look over here on the total altcoin market cap, expecting a slow recovery to come out of here. This is kind of the blueprint we have from the last time we had this kind of a big sell-off. We can see that we're still following that same trajectory, kind of even the exact same structures and everything pulling down in here. Here's where everybody was freaking out about Elon Musk. You can see we've now recovered that price level and just kind of gradually working our way up, which is how I expect the rest of the month to play out. But you can see if things were to continue following here for the altcoin market, that hey, this whole entire week up until next Monday at least, or if we continued that same trajectory, this would be a pretty exciting week, seeing about a 20 to 30% rise over here in the altcoin market. Now, I know everybody's looking for time predictions, and well, I can't stand by that and say that I think it's going to happen within the next, 7 days, because, well, I'm very aware of how these ranges can play out, and they can just be slippy, sloppy all over the place and continue just torturing people for much longer than that, especially with how much extreme fear there is in this market, and the fact that we've been down here for quite a while, going on almost a full month in extreme fear. Everybody's looking for a little bit of relief, and they want to know when. But if we just look at the previous blueprint on how this played out, you can see that's what it was. When we had the big C19 sell-off in March of last year, this was the growth rate at which we were able to climb our way out of here. So you can see that how we've been behaving or performing over these last couple of weeks has not been out of line with how the recovery looked like back in March of last year, March and April. And that, hey, maybe we'll be in for a little bit of a surprise in here. Now, the thing is about that rise right there, if we did get something like that happening over here in the altcoin market, where would that take you to? That would take you right to the key level of 702. Now, we need to talk about that for a second because there's a lot of mixed emotions out there right now. Are we still in a bull market? Are we in a bear market? A lot of mixed feelings out there right now. This is the area where people who have conviction of one way or the other will make up their mind. People who are bearish on this market, professional investors, professional traders who are bearish on the market are going to sell their assets in that area and short the market right there. In order for this to continue being a bull market, it's got to get out of there. It's got to get above 1.2 trillion. For the altcoin market. We saw this happen back in 2017 for Bitcoin. It did retrace to that price level, to that 702 Fibonacci retracement after an initial fall. After it hit that price level, it rolled over on itself and continued a multi-year bear market. So all eyes are on that price level and whether or not we can get through there. Because this is the area where a lot of people are going to de-risk their portfolios. People who are new, people who are amateurs to this market, they sell when they're incredibly fearful. However, the professionals will wait this out and wait for retracements to come in when the excitement starts to return. And in the retracement is when they will sell out of their positions if they have conviction that it's a bear market. So panic sellers who think we're in a bear market sell at massive losses. Professionals will wait for a retracement to come in and then they'll sell. And while judging by how this fractal played out previously, you could see it spent 2 weeks underneath here tormenting on whether or not it was going to clear through that level. So I don't think that June is going to be any easier than it's been even after it rises, because we're going to be faced with this big headwind of resistance and retracement resistance. And the big question of, is this bull run going to continue further beyond here? And while judging by what that looks like, we'll have to be stuck in that question for a couple of weeks if it continues at that same rate, if it is going to break to the upside. The positive thing going for this at this point is we don't have some type of ABC correction happening right now. Typically, if we're going to see this thing get completely rejected, what you'll see is a rise back up to about the 618, a fall all the way back down here again, and then your second rise will take you right up in there. That's an ABC correction, and then we turn on ourselves and off into the bear market we go. But fortunately, I don't see that kind of structure playing out right here. I see a recovery structure happening just like what happened at the end of the C19 sell-off, and like we've been building the case over and over again all throughout last week. Up here's a total altcoin market cap, double tap, back test into the bull flag, V bottom out of here, just like we saw happen down here in the Dow Jones, and just like we saw happen with Ethereum during the previous bull market, that this is a typical structure that does show up in a bubble structure. This very scary sell sell-off that happens that takes the altcoin market back down to the all-time high to test the new support that was built on top of the all-time high, confirm it, then off and off we go. So since we don't see an ABC showing up, we're seeing the recovery take place just like we saw in the previous recovery. The location of where this is all occurring at, it's looking positive, but we need to be aware of those risks that are coming up as we get to the retracement levels. That retracements are there for a reason. If the market is trending in one direction, there's specific places that tend to be areas of interest where reversals can occur at for the next leg down. And as we get to those retracement levels, you're going to watch me again become cautious. So long as we're below those retracement levels, we have to be cautious. At least I do. Now, we talked about this a couple of times last week, how here's the total market cap of all of cryptocurrency and the price level it reached out to by using the 0.236 Fibonacci retracement level on top of the rally prior to Bitcoin capitulating. Sounds crazy, sounds wild to do something like that. Sounds like how you're just trying to make fibs fit. However, we've been talking about this for the last year, and so hey, it happens to show up precisely when it pinpoint nails it when discussing it for an entire year. But what have we seen happen in this market after this style of move ends up occurring is that when we've seen this happen before, this market does end up recovering, and it does have one final push up to the upside before a fresh new bear market does begin. In particular, we used examples of XRP during the 2017 bull run to show this rally prior to Bitcoin capitulating, ended up pinpoint nailing the top of the entire move, followed by longer consolidation, and then one final move to the upside before a real bear market started to set in. The same thing for Litecoin over here, which is what we talked about last week, is using that little rally prior to Bitcoin capitulating right down in here that it gave us our pinpoint top right here, followed by a large knockback, and then going on to have the final wave using this rally right before capitulating, just like we have right here. This rally right before capitulating, big knockback from the top, just like on Litecoin, big knockback from the top, then a slow, grueling grind in here before getting off and having its last rally, which is what we're looking for over here on the total market cap of all of crypto. What's interesting about Litecoin, though, is if we kind of zoom in on what that moment looked like after it got rejected from that 4.236 and then came down and had its recoveries, we can kind of see the structure of what ended up happening in here, right? Kind of just little higher lows until it finally broke out of there and then came back down in here before really taking off. But we can see how there was a series of higher lows before getting through that resistance level. And we can see that same thing happening over here currently right now. A series of higher lows coming in, looking for kind of a breakout and then a pull back down on top of the price level, which just so happens to be exactly what this fractal looks like right in here, is that we'd be looking for something similar to just like that, just like with what we saw with Litecoin during that time period. And you can see how this structure really kind of looks now compared to what we have going on here. And seeing that we still have a ways to go, right? This thing isn't anywhere near done, and there's a lot of things that still need to play out in here in regards to really getting our clear breakout. And while speaking of that, looking at the Bitcoin dominance in regards to how this dominance has fallen for Bitcoin and how we've been in an alt season during this time period, we can see that we've stopped here before. In the 2017 bull run, the Bitcoin dominance did pause here at a moment just like this, just this deep into it, just like we have right in here. And well, have we already begun it? So we can overlay that right there. And you can see from a time perspective, we're just about there. From a time perspective and from a structure perspective, it looks like it's just about there as well. So is that where we kind of see this bigger disconnect again happen for the altcoin market? And that's what I'm going to be looking for happening. And from a time perspective, again, sometime this week, if this does continue to play out just like it did back in here, that we're right there at that moment once again for the altcoin market to begin rocking and rolling again over Bitcoin. And so with all this talk of getting back to the retracement level for the total altcoin market cap, Bitcoin, what's going to happen when it gets back to its retracement levels, I still sit back and look at those things that we're talking about. The rally prior to the capitulation, reaching out to that full extension. We've seen these things happen before where they do continue to go for one final epic rally at the end. And what's the big puzzle piece that's been missing from all of this? Of course, it's been the Ripple XRP price chart. not going on its big rally. A lot of other altcoins haven't either, but in the previous cycles, we've always seen that XRP does. And while XRP hasn't exactly been exciting during this time period either, but still putting the same kind of structure, right? Bigger dip, higher low with kind of a bull flag coming in, looking for the same thing. One of the things we talked about last week is what these recovery structures looked like before XRP did blast out and go much higher. And that in 2017, there was two different kinds. One of them was that it actually ended up getting all the way up in here, back up into this level, consolidating, and then off we went and we were gone. The other structure was that, you know what, we just kind of roll back up in here to about $1.46. And then this thing just really kind of grueling plays out for a long time. And well, what has happened with XRP in the previous bull runs of cryptocurrency has been that it takes off at the very end. We've had the entire bear market for this thing to take off. We've had the entire bull market for this thing to take off. It still hasn't done it yet. So at this point, the thing we have to look towards, well, what has happened every time? Every time it's been the last one to go. XRP was the mark of the end of the bull run for all of cryptocurrency. And so long as we don't have that happening yet, I have to go with the belief system that Bitcoin still has one more rally. It's got to get up to that 4.236 Fibonacci extension, which is at least $72,000. The altcoin market still has another push up because it structurally matches exactly what we've seen happen before, and XRP hasn't taken off yet, which it's done at the end of every bull run. So long as this puzzle piece is missing, well, then I've got to keep with the conviction that we're going to keep on going and that this Bitcoin dominance is going to keep on falling. And so while I know for this week people are looking for what kind of crazy developments are we looking for? And right now, the prices haven't changed that much over the weekend, right? I said, hey, I'd be back over the weekend if anything crazy happened. I didn't come back over the weekend because nothing crazy happened. Prices remained relatively flat. So things are looking precisely the same as they did at the end of last week or last Friday. But we keep seeing these things that are showing us this is what we're kind of waiting for. If we're going to continue following things that have happened, we're waiting for this next pop to happen, this pop that takes the altcoin market up a little bit higher, this pop that makes the Bitcoin dominance break down a second time. Because we have a familiar structure that shows that another high does get set in this market, which would be the blow off parabolic euphoric rise that ends the entire cryptocurrency cycle. We have XRP still yet to do what it has done in every bull market, which is go on a parabolic rise at the end. And we have old Trusty over here on the total altcoin market cap pulling a double tap breakout back test V bottom structure with still more room to go to the upside for a full Fibonacci extension, which also stands true for Bitcoin. And so as we head into this new week, I wanted to share with you the things that I see. Of course, the price action still has remained flat throughout the weekend, kind of a boring crypto weekend and kind of a boring start to the beginning of the week. But I think it's just a calm before some serious price action does arrive on the board with that Bitcoin dominance just teetering on the edge of breaking down, which would be a further rise up in the altcoin market. And as they say, markets are a mechanism for money to be transferred from the impatient to the patient. One of the things is I've been in this market for many years. I'm very patient. I can handle a couple of days of boring price action. And for the people who have been with this channel for a long time, we sometimes had to go through periods of 90 days where the prices remained flat. So we're just at a couple of days. I think the hard part is, of course, that we've been in this extreme fear during this time period. But we'll get through it. We'll get to higher prices, hopefully soon. But I'm starting this week off optimistic. I'm looking towards further price action to the upside. I do see the headwinds up there in those retracement levels, but I'm optimistic that we will get through them and we'll address those as we get there. But I hope that you guys had an absolutely fantastic weekend. It's sometimes nice when there's no price action over the weekend because we can kind of enjoy the things going on in our personal lives. And I know that I did. So I hope that you're doing well. If you're looking for something to do, of course, you can check out my website over here. This is bcbacker.com. This is my website where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs and the different altcoin market cycles, tying those together to show how the alt seasons have occurred at very specific times in the Bitcoin price chart. I teach you how to set up your own trading view charts in your CoinTrader Pro charts, or if you're looking to learn how to chart, I show you how to set that stuff up with your own indicators and tools and whatnot. I talk about mathematics, I talk about percentages, I talk about my personal exit plans in here. I did also include an update here just a few days ago on May 31st that's available to anybody who's already enrolled in the course and anybody who does enroll in the course. And you can check that out over here on bcbacker.com. You could follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching my channel. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.